Hello bookworms! Today I am here with my first ever review video for one specific book because usually I wait till the end of the month to do wrap-ups and I tend to write book reviews and post them on my blog, but I really do want to maybe start doing some more video reviews. So anyway, I figured the best one to start with would be Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, because I have a lot of things to say about this book / play. I'm going to start with a spoiler-free review, and then I will let you know once I'm going to start getting into spoilers, so you can listen to the beginning, and then if you haven't read it yet, I will give you a clear indication of when it is time to turn off the video and go away and read it before you come back and hear my spoiler-filled thoughts. Okay, first of all, I just want to say that the excitement surrounding this book was something that just made my year pretty much, because Harry Potter is one of the biggest fandoms in my life, if not, no, you know what, I can confidently say that Harry Potter is the biggest fandom in my life. It's the one that has meant the most to me for more years than I can even count. Since the first book came out, I have been reading these, I have been addicted to them, and I have been completely absorbed in all things Harry Potter. Obviously, with the announcement of the play and everything, I was devastated that I couldn't go to London to see it, but I was really excited when they said that they were going to be releasing a version of it that I would be able to read, and so I would know what was going on. And I did everything that I could to avoid all Harry Potter and the Cursed Child spoilers. Did not read a single review. I just read some review headlines so that I could get a feel of whether people who were seeing the play were enjoying it or not, and it seemed generally good, so that got me even more excited. And I have to say that I am so glad that I went into this blind without knowing what the plot was, because as soon as I figured, as soon as they said what it was, I was just holy cow, that is completely unexpected. That is something that I never in a million years would have thought that this book would explore, but I am so happy that it did. Spoiler-free thoughts, I really did enjoy this. In the beginning, it felt weird to me. It was just really weird to see all of these characters that I had grown accustomed to as children, as grown-ups, and to kind of get a feel for their personalities and see how different they are, and just to see where they are in their lives. So it was a little bit of an adjustment for me at first. I definitely was not hooked from the first page, although I was definitely intrigued, and Andrew kept asking me how's the book, and I kept being it's weird, because it just I don't know, it just took a little bit for me to acclimate to these new roles that my characters had taken on. After I kind of got over that, I ended up really falling in love with Albus Severus, but particularly Scorpius Malfoy. He is my favorite character in this book. He is definitely he's just awesome. He's just an all-around awesome guy. So I really loved him. I really love that him and Albus Severus are friends. They're such an unlikely pair, and it's really fun to read about their kind of adventures together. So that to me was just so enjoyable. Again, the plot, which I will not say what it is here, I was not expecting that, and I really liked that, and it made me cry a lot, but it was definitely worth it, and I'm glad that I read this. I'm glad that I read this right away. I'm glad that nobody was able to spoil it for me, and yeah, if you are kind of on the fence about it, I will say it's strange. It's definitely a strange thing to go in and read it, but it's absolutely worth it for what it is. I think that if I were able to see it in play form, which I'm hoping that the rumors are true and that it's coming to New York next year, because I will be the first one buying a ticket for that. I think that as a play, it will be phenomenal. It's not hard for me to read it in play format and imagine what's going on, but I think that just seeing all of those set designs and seeing all of the other things that kind of make the story what it is will definitely add to it tenfold. So anyway, I ended up giving Harry Potter and the Cursed Child 5 out of 5 stars. I was very surprised with my initial reaction of it feeling weird, because it's really weird to love something so much and then have something released later and to go back and be a little bit more critical on it than you were as a child. So it's just weird. It's the whole thing. It's just a strange thing. But anyway, so I really enjoyed it, and now I am going to get into the spoiler-filled section of my review for this book. So if you haven't read it, now is the time to turn this video off, and then I'm gonna go into some spoiler-filled things. So, okay. First of all, I just realized that I've been holding this book for a really long time, but anyway. Okay, so there were a couple of things about this book that did bother me, and I'm gonna tell you what those are first of all. The first one, and like the most major one, being like, where the heck was Teddy Lupin? I was really expecting to see him, and I just thought that it was so strange that he was completely omitted from this story. I thought that he would play a much bigger role, and I also just like wanted some kind of throwback to Tonks and to Lupin, and there really just wasn't anything like that, and that to me was a little bit dissatisfying. Oh, also Luna Lovegood, obviously, she, like, I want to know what she is up to. They mentioned Neville. Neville is now a professor at Hogwarts, which is really awesome, but where's Luna, and what is she doing? I'm so curious. I feel like I have so many questions about certain characters, and I understand that they gave us some tidbits of information about people because obviously that is what a lot of us are here for. Yeah, there were just some that I wanted more of, and they weren't there, so oh well. So one thing that I will say is that this book definitely read a bit like fan fiction, which was also like strange to me, because it's really not the next chapter in Harry's life. It's really a new chapter in Albus Severus's life. So it definitely is different, but I did feel like there were certain things that were done just like as fan service. Like different things were just catering to people, like catering to the fans, which is fine, and which I totally enjoyed. It just seemed like uncharacteristic of a Harry Potter work. So it was just strange. Like, as I have been saying throughout this whole thing, like it was just strange, but it's still a strange that I loved and enjoyed. So Scorpius Malfoy has all of these rumors surrounding him about whether he is Voldemort's child, because his mother was a Death Eater, and as we know, Draco was not a Death Eater, but he had like close relationships with them because of his family. So there's all this speculation about whether Scorpius is actually the Dark Lord's son, and it's very unpleasant for him. He gets bullied at Hogwarts, so does Albus Severus, and Albus Severus ends up in Slytherin, and him and Scorpius become really good friends, and their friendship is amazing. Like, I really, really enjoyed reading about them. It almost seemed like it was like more than friendship. I got the impression that like they could potentially be in love, and like this could spawn a lot more fan fiction. I liked what they did. I liked that they were so close to each other. I liked that they trusted each other when no one else did. Even when their fathers like banned them from seeing each other, they still found a way to stay friends, like to get into antics together, and they put all of this responsibility upon themselves. So the spoiler thing that I didn't say before is that they actually go back, they steal a time turner from the Ministry of Magic, they take Polyjuice Potion, they impersonate Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and they break into the Ministry of Magic, and they steal this time turner from that's hidden in Hermione's bookshelf, which is, I cannot even imagine how amazing that must be to see on stage, because all of the books are just like attacking them as they're trying to figure out these riddles and like get to where the time turner is. And Scorpius is actually the one that figures it out. So they steal this time turner, and then they decide that they're going to go back in time to try to save Cedric Diggory. What? Like, immediate tears. I was just like, holy cow, like I can't believe that we're going back and this is what we're going to be talking about, and like that just blew my mind that this was the whole plot of this book. But obviously, as anyone who reads time travel stories knows, if you mess with the tiniest thing in time, everything can change going forward. So them trying to save Cedric did a lot more harm than help, and just seeing like the possible alternate realities was insane. But there was one like of the most like just heartwarming scenes ever. Like, it was so sad and so stressful, but at one point Scorpius goes back in time, and Snape is still alive, and Hermione is on the run, and there are all of these like dungeons that anybody who's Muggle-born is tortured in. Umbridge is the headmaster of the school, which headmistress of the school, which is obviously like the worst possible future ever. So just imagine every horrible thing that you can think of, and then that's what's going on. Snape gets to find out about this past that this future that really like should be the way that things are, and it's really sad, and he like comes to terms with how he died, and he is really like, he's just really touched that Harry ended up naming his son after him, and it's like, I feel like I'm like tearing up now because it was such a scene. And then, oh my gosh, and then Hermione and Ron, they sacrifice themselves so that Scorpius can get back to the future that they need to be in. I can't even speak. Hermione and Ron give themselves up to the Dementors, and they end up like dying next to each other, like being kissed by the Dementors while they're holding hands. Oh my god, I'm like literally tearing up because this was just so sad. This is embarrassing because Harry Potter is really important. But anyway, I'm gonna move on from that scene. He gets back, and then as if like there couldn't be anything that will make you tear up and be more touching and more heartwarming than that scene, we end up in the past because Voldemort does have a child, and I'm happy to say that I predicted it from the beginning, but it's a child that Voldemort had with Bellatrix Lestrange. So that's like a thing that everybody has always said, that the two of them totally had something going on. So that's why like I called that from the beginning. I didn't necessarily think that it was going to be the person that it was, but it was, and I just knew that Bellatrix was the mom. So she goes back in time because she wants to meet her father, and she wants to stop him from killing Harry because she knows that it will be his downfall, and she wants to rule with him in this awful alternate future. And it's so crazy. That is also a scene where I cried a lot because they go back in time, and Scorpius and Albus have to get a message to their parents in the future, and they do it by using this blanket that Harry got from his mom. It's the only thing that he has like left to remember his mother. So they burn holes into it that only appear when they react with a certain liquid, which ties back to something that happens more in the beginning of the book. But they get this message through, and then they're able to get another time turner, and Harry, Draco, Ron, Hermione, all of them travel back to Godric's Hollow on Halloween, on the night where Harry's parents are killed, so that they can stop Voldemort's daughter from stopping Voldemort from killing Harry's parents. And just seeing like just all of them together witnessing Harry's parents dying and not being able to do anything is like probably the saddest thing that I've ever read in my life. Again, I'm crying again. But it really was like, it was almost too much for me, and it was so sad. It was just so sad. And then it also makes sense why Harry had all of these vivid memories of it, because this is something that he actually experienced. And for him to just be reminded of that, and to just be so helpless, but also be surrounded by these people that love him, that are there with him. And oh my gosh, I can't. I feel like such a nerd. I'm like really getting emotional here. But anyway, so getting back to the review, there were some moments that I don't even know how I'll be able to handle seeing them acted out, because in my head they're making me feel this way, and I'm not even reading them right now. I'm just relaying what happened. So like overall, I seriously loved this book a lot. It was not at all what I was expecting. But it feels like such a great new chapter. And I know that J.K. Rowling has said once again now that she's done with Harry Potter and this is it. This is like the final story. But I would just really love to read more about Albus Severus and Scorpius, because they are just such a great like pair of friends, and they're just awesome. And it was just so good. And it definitely was like I said in the beginning, it was like fan fiction, and there was a lot of fan service, but I loved it. And I don't know. I can't imagine not loving anything that's Harry Potter, and definitely not what I was expecting. Definitely pleasantly surprised. Definitely had my emotions like torn while I was reading this, but I loved it. I really, really loved it. If you are not sure about reading it, I mean, hopefully you already are sure and you already have read it if you're still listening to this part of the video, but I just, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. I'm so bad at wrapping up these reviews, I guess, because I've never done one before. So anyway, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, again, 5 out of 5 stars. I need to see this performed live because just everything that they described, just seeing it in my imagination, I like need to see it come to fruition on a stage and to just experience it. And I really, really hope that I get that opportunity. And I hope that everybody else who read this book loved it. I know that there are very mixed opinions about it, but I particularly love it. I really fall under the camp that just, I'm so happy that this came out. I hope that you're enjoying whatever it is that you're reading. If you've read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, I would love to continue to talk about it more in the comments, but just be a little bit mindful of spoilers for people who maybe haven't finished it yet or read it yet. So that's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon with a new one. Bye!